Hello and welcome to the Wildstar Developers Unleashed Open Beta live stream. Very excited to be here. You heard right. Open Beta is live now for Wildstar. Finally, everyone can join in. Hop on to wildstar-online.com to join in Nexus. You can do that right now, literally while we're starting the stream. Isn't that right?
Tony, did you let everyone know Open Beta is live right now?
You know what I did?
But have you also told them if you get into open beta right now, not only will you get free costumes and a ton of boom boxes, but if you pre-order, you get a rocket house for free.
A rocket house, you say?
For free.
Will they ever be able to get this rocket house ever again?
Never again.
Never again. On my left, I have product director Mike Donatelli, and on my right, I have creative director Chad Moore, and I'm your community manager Tony Ray. We're going to be talking to you guys today. This stream is really for fans of Wildstar, for people who've never heard of Wildstar before, to kind of get you introduced to what our ideas and philosophies are, and what we want to really accomplish with Wildstar. So that being said, Mike. We're about to launch soon, and as players get to the end of the leveling within Wildstar, what kind of stuff is there to do as they progress along in the game at the end?
Well, if you get to the end, if right now you can get into open beta, you can try the whole game out, you can try the quests and the paths and the challenges and the dungeons and the raids and all the best stuff, because it is the best stuff. I feel this is the best MMO that's out there on the market, so you get it in open beta and try it for yourself. But if you can get through all that content when there's a ton of it, and you hit Elder Game, a lot of MMOs kind of Elder Game is something that they want to do or they're going to do in the future. They have plans, but we've spent a lot of time and a lot of money on making sure that the Elder Game is there like soon as you hit cap, right? The second you hit cap, and we don't have any kind of, ideas that players will not just blow through the content and get to the end. So we made sure to provide that end game for them. Or Elder Game rather. So for us, Elder Game is going to consist of, we have post-cap play spaces. There's these little public event islands that are on, there's almost a whole zone size worth of content. Then we have, again, additional zones post-launch. We have more raids, more 20-man, 40-man raids. I mean, we have an entire expansion's worth of content that we plan on releasing over the next 12 months, because it's about value.
Right.
MMO, if you're going to sell an MMO for a box price and then you're going to have a $15 a month subscription, you got to give them the value. The value has to be there. So it's not like they're just paying you $15 a month, the player that is, paying you $15 a month to just have the pleasure of being able to connect to your servers. The whole idea is you want to give them something so they'll stay. They can play a lot of different games, and if you want them to play Wildstar, our plan is to constantly churn out content.
We want to make it worth it.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's what I want. I want constant updates. I want, we have a ton of content. Hell, I won't go too much into it now, but we have, a whole zone. We have tons of stuff that's coming in the very first patch post-launch.
So going off of that, we do have a very expansive post-launch plan. Could you go into a little more detail of that?
Well, we do have an expansive post-launch plan, but I want to make sure that I almost said expensive post-launch plan. And it is both of those things.
Transparency, right?
Well, no, I mean that's actually serious. I mean, go to Wildstar's Wildstar's webpage, not the online one, but go to Carbine's webpage. I apologize, Carbine's webpage, and just look at the job page. Right, we are hiring up people. We're in for the long haul. The plan is to just continuously churn out, but we had to have a lot of people. The point is, for all that expensive, expansive post-launch content, we also have to have a giant chunk of the team working on the launch game and a live team. We have a pretty good live team that's they're banging out bugs right now. So we want to make sure that when again, it's that service. It's that you're the customer. So make sure that the game launches and then we hit all the bugs and knock that stuff out of the park real fast, but also have a giant team working on post-launch content. So there's just tons of stuff. I could talk about Elder Game, the Elder Gem system, so when you get the cap, it flips over and you start earning these Elder Gems with this currency. You could buy everything in the game, abilities. There's tons of awesome stuff. It would just take, I would monopolize this if I talk too much more.
Please don't do that. Please don't do that. No, thank you. And Chad, we've heard a lot about like Elder Game and what we've got for big content at the end of the game. But what about solo content? What do we got as far as that goes?
So obviously, lots of players play by themselves.
You could say they play with themselves.
You could say that.
You could.
I'm just saying. You could
shouldn't
say
that, but you could definitely say that.
So we have focused a lot of our game on, on solo players. Obviously, pre-cap, we've got tons of zones. We've got 17 full zones in the game. Some of those are faction-specific. Some of those are contested zones. All of them are chock full of like awesome world groups and world bosses. Really, those zones story of Nexus and what's happening. Why do all these groups have they come to Nexus?
Right.
You've got indigenous groups like the Osen and the Falkren. You're going to learn about them. What's their tie to the story that's happening here? And so there's just some awesome sort of solo content that you play before cap. We've got challenges, which are these sort of timed little challenges that pop up as you're doing quests. So like you might be killing a creature and a challenge pops up. Hey, can you kill like 10 more of these creatures? We're going to reward you if you can do that. We've got this whole unique system called the Path system, which is unique to Wildstar. So at the very beginning, you can choose one of 4 paths, and that's a way for you to sort of customize your particular play experience.
It's like an archetype. It's something that sits on top of your class and just allows you to have access to the kind of content you want to do.
Right. So if I choose to be a soldier, there's a whole layer of content, about 30% of your leveling content that is just about being a soldier. You get assassination missions, SWAT missions. And if that's the kind of stuff you like to do, then you get to do more of it. You can choose to be an explorer, so you're doing jump puzzles, and you're going to ancient ruins, and you're seeing and opening places that other players don't get to see.
That's awesome.
But it's just really, really cool, and it's not necessarily just for solo players, right, Mike?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, all these, we have PvE content we have content for everybody, right? We've talked about, you've probably heard about Frost talk about, raids being crazy for the hardcore 1%, right? And it's absolutely true. But we made sure that we have that kind of content for everybody. We have group PvE content that is, adventures, which is kind of like a choose your own adventure dungeon. You get to make choices throughout the whole thing. You have dungeons, and then you have 20-man raids. We have a 40-man raid, which is batshit insane. I mean, I can't really talk about the videos and stuff we're doing about that soon, but it's batshit insane, and we'll show you soon about that kind of stuff. But that's just the PvE kind of group content we have. For PvPers, we have battlegrounds, and we have arenas, and we have open world PvP server rule sets. We have and then the rating for that kind of 1%er crowd of PvP guys is the war plots, right, where it's 40 people versus 40 people. Each side builds a war plot with our housing tech, which is the best housing tech in the industry. No other MMO has better housing than us.
You heard it here first.
Put your stamp on it.
We use that housing tech to build this stuff, and then people just blow each other's shit up, and it's nuts. And if you lose it for good. There's a penalty for losing, and I think that challenge, without that high stakes, again, our raids, high stakes, our PvP war plots, high stakes. Without that stuff, without that challenge, that's not an MMO to me. So, and that's just that. We also have group stuff. So if you're level 50 and you've got your mount, your gear, and all your awesome, your house is pimped out, and now you're like, oh, well, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to just go back and re-roll? Well, you can. We've got tons of awesome stuff, right? But if you don't, you want to keep on going. Our plan is to, month after month after month, to keep releasing more content for every playstyle. So at launch, we're going to have what we call a post-cap play space, which is just this zone, a tract almost of content that's got public events and quests and dailies and path Uber missions and all these crazy things. And then we also have zones and ship hand missions and all this great stuff that we're rolling out after the game launches, so that you have PvE group, PvP group, solo PvE, solo PvE. Everybody's going to have something to do.
Damn, it's got a lot of stuff going on.
It has I can't say it enough. It has the best housing in the game in any MMO, period. The best combat by far, and I don't know. I just get super excited about this. I apologize.
Hey, no, don't apologize. Come on, this is our stream. We can say whatever we want. Damn it, we got the best shit. Speaking of the best shit, Chad, you love story.
I do.
And I love story. I'm a big fan of story in games. So what can we expect from story in Wildstar?
So one of the biggest mysteries, right, when you come to Nexus, if you've dug into our lore at all, is what happened to the Elden? And the Elden were this hyper-advanced race that used to live on Nexus, and when you get here, they're no longer here. And so right from the beginning of the game, you begin to dig into that mystery, dig into that story. You're doing episodes in our zones that are specifically about uncovering the mystery of what happened to them. There's all these scientific facilities that were there, and they left behind these experiments. Some of them have gone pretty crazy, and so you're going to have to deal with those. And as you're dealing with those, you're fighting these cybernetic abominations and these biological mutations. You begin to find research notes or data cubes that were left behind by the Elden that begin to reveal this big story. And then, when you get to level 35, you begin to do solo story content that is specifically designed for people that really want to dig into the story of Nexus. We call them the Drusera instances. And they sort of center around this mysterious figure named Drusera that you may or may not have seen as you were adventuring through some of our zones. And as you go through all of these sort of tightly designed and, sort of more traditionally structured, from a story standpoint, instances, you really begin to understand the crazy stuff that the Elden were doing here. Why did they disappear? And then ultimately, what is the danger that you're going to have to deal with, once you get to endgame? So it's just another way for us to say, like, hey, we know there are people out there that really love story. Mm-hmm. And, in our MMO, we did not forget you guys. We made content that is specifically for you guys to enjoy as you play through our game.
But just because you mentioned it, I like the idea, we start the real, meat and potatoes story at level 35, right? And all throughout the time, because we're a new IP, we introduce all these different world groups, all these different races, all this different content, and we kind of do that whole supplemental storytelling where you mentioned the data cubes, right? Well, the data cubes are all completely voiceover, right? Like, it's like finding one of those, this super secret hidden nugget, and it tells you something about it. And if you don't, you're collecting them all to get this great story. We got journals, comic books. We have all these great things to collect and find in the world, and you get to dig in as deep as you want to the lore. But, we have, more info on quests, or if you want to dig deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, we just give you all these great options. But, anyway, I'm sorry. I feel like I need to say that. I'm sorry for apologizing.
Yeah.
We have the best
Oh
damn MMO that you're going to play this year, period, end.
You see?
Play it. Open beta right now.
Oh, my God. You never know what's going to happen when developers get unleashed.
Oh, stop it. That's a terrible name, by the way.
Oh, hey, wait, real quick, before we finish this. The story.
There's lore, man.
Wait,
it's everywhere.
There's more lore here. Let me get into it.
Lore.
Got to get that lore in.
Those instances, they don't stop when you get to cap, right?
Okay.
After you've gotten to the end of the leveling experience and you understand the true danger, then after launch, we're going to release even more episodic instances, right? Solo instances. That basically where you get to be the hero of the universe and figure out how to actually solve the problem that you've just learned here on Nexus.
He'll save every one of us.
Someone's energy drink just kicked in.
As a matter of fact, it was. My eyes already been doing black tar heroin all night long. I'm just whacked out of my mind.
I pray that's not true. So I love the story. Speaking of story, we had our new open beta trailer released today.
It's pretty awesome, isn't it?
It's freaking great. It's my favorite trailer I think that we've done, and
it's convinced me to buy the game.
That's good.
I will. I
knew you were on edge a little bit.
And you know what? Open beta started today, Mike.
What happened?
Yeah, so you can go and play today.
Open beta is that thing where you can get into and you can play the game for free for 10 days, and you can get free costumes and you can get free boom boxes, and if you pre-order today, you get a rocket house.
Rocket house.
For free.
Yeah.
For free.
That's what open beta is, right?
That is what open beta is, and that starts today. Go to the website, check it out. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about housing and how it's the best out there.
It is the best housing.
It is the best out there. We're going to be talking about housing, customization, and the hardcore aspect of our game. Enjoy the open beta trailer. We'll be back right now. So to my left, I have design producer Stefan Frost, and on my right, I have development director Matt McCarsky. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic.
Yeah, are you ready to get unleashed? You just saw Mike Donatelli.
I've been unleashed all morning.
Oh,
so I heard
another
name for this. Dev's Gone Wildstar.
Oh, Dev's Gone Wildstar. I like that.
Yeah, Spring Break edition.
I don't like it, but
don't?
I just threw it out there anyway.
What about
an option.
what I also heard Turn Down for Wildstar.
What?
You know, like that.
Little John.
What? Yeah. Okay, we're
we'll
bringing back references from 2002 right now.
Yeah.
Good God. Okay, so Frost, we've talked a lot about the PvP content in our game, how it's like for the bread and butter player, every man's game. Now, what about the content that is just a little bit more hardcore?
Yeah, so the past couple days I've been talking about hardcore stuff a lot, but one of the big things that we have in Wildstar is basically a feature for everyone, right? MMOs are massive games. They have to really be for everybody. If I'm a housing person, we need to have the most badass housing system that we possibly can, right? If I'm a PvE player, we need to have awesome PvE content, whether that's paths, challenges, quests, that sort of thing. And the same thing goes for those 1%ers out there, the hardcore players. So something like a dungeon needs to be epic and kind of scary. I think in other games we've kind of figured out, okay, well, these are the puzzles. I figured them out. At 2 minutes in, I need to stand in this region of the room, and everybody does their thing. In Wildstar with our dungeons, they're insane. I mean, like,
really
seriously, if you've looked at this game and thought to yourself, like, well, there's cartoony graphics, so it can't be hardcore. Like, shut up, first of all. Secondly, get in the game and actually try it. Getting into a level 20 dungeon, I think will convince people, because I think we have some 5-person content that are like raid content in other games. And so talking about raids, we have 20-person raids and 40-person raids. We probably have the best raids of any MMO.
Probably.
Definitely have the
We
best.
definitely have the best raids of any MMO. Damn it.
I mean, even
Definitely the hardest.
Definitely the most difficult. And if you look at what we're seeing on screen right now, this is an awesome little mechanic. When you're going across the room, they have these little eggs, and they actually confuse the player. And so if you hit up, you start going left or down or right. And that's really funny because there's a bottomless pit under them, so they fall to their death pretty regularly, and we always think that's funny. So there are massive rooms that we spend a lot of time in it, and a lot of people ask the question, isn't that kind of weird that you are making such epic content for such a small demographic of people? And really, the way that we're looking at this is
Hell no.
Yeah, dude, hell no, right? This is a great investment, because there are people that work really, really hard in these games, right?
Right.
And especially if they're the top 1%, 5%, and we wanted to have stuff for them that's awesome too. Our housing system is deep and awesome as well, and so we can't just bunt on something like raids. And if you look at on screen, what you're seeing is kind of the insanity. It's not like, well, just stay in the corner here, we'll all be fine. You've got to be. You have these environmental hazards
Constantly moving.
Constantly moving. Even playstyles like healers traditionally have been, well, I'll just stay in the back of the room and heal some bars. That's not the case here. You got to be moving around constantly, because you're going to die if you don't. And designing telegraphs for 40 people versus 20 people, way different than designing telegraphs for something like 5. But even our veteran dungeons are just ridiculously. I mean, Skullcano, for example, there's a laser that goes this way, and you got to run away from it, because if you hit once, you die. But then they do another laser that's low, so you have to double jump over that and avoid the other one. It's insane.
I mean, even the name.
Skullcano.
Skullcano.
Dude,
it's pretty hardcore.
Pretty metal. Something also I wanted to point out really quick, guys. Next week we have a Raids Dev Speak coming out.
Ooh.
It is my favorite one by far. I think the Warplots one was pretty good. The Raids one, freaking awesome. Our cinematics team knocked it out of the park. I can't wait to show everybody next week. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I have seen that. I didn't know that we announced that we were releasing it next week. That might be.
That is an exclusive. Right?
That's an
wow.
exclusive. Raids
Here
Dev
today.
Speak coming out next week.
Here's what I did. I dropped it like it's hot.
Boom. You didn't even ask permission.
No.
F it.
Yeah.
Now, Frost, you're known around the office for being pretty hardcore, just in general,
Sure.
right? Not necessarily a gamer, but in general,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Are our raids too hardcore for you?
They're pretty brutal. I would say that it's going to take me a while to get to the level of content where I can actually start doing the raids.
Wow.
So you've been on social media. You've been hit up about the difficulty of our raids, and you've been asked. I'll let you explain it, but go ahead and explain that.
Funny thing, I got 2 little anecdotes with that. One, I was reading on Reddit the other day that somebody had said, "Wildstar, the dungeons are too difficult. Can you turn them down?"
Right.
So I responded on Twitter by saying, hey, I just read this Reddit post. It said, "Wildstar, the dungeons are too hard. Can you turn them down?" No. Is my response to that.
We're just dropping mics left and right over here.
Here's the thing. There has to be content for everybody.
Right.
And so not everybody gets to go into 20-person raids. Not everybody gets to go into 40-person raids. If you are badass enough, you certainly earn that right. And we're not just going to hand that out. And the other thing that is terrible, I'm talking to my mom about this the other day, because she was like, She's like, there's a lot of comments on this. And I'm like, yeah. And it's because this is a controversial issue because you've seen other companies basically have really difficult content. And then they go, let's make it easier so more people can get in. That's terrible. She's like, well, that's not fair. All the people that worked really hard don't get to enjoy the fact that that was an experience that they earned. And I'm like, exactly.
Damn, is Mama Frost hardcore too?
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Wow.
So how is my
All right.
mom getting it, but other companies don't? I'm just, I don't know.
Oh, that is terrific. That is
Yeah.
terrific. More companies need to listen to Mama Frost. Now, Matt, you are our development director.
Absolutely.
Before you were development director, you were our art director and our creative director.
That's true. Pappy has now taken over for me.
Right.
Taking the reins.
Okay, I
God
like
help
that.
us all.
Yeah, seriously.
You never
We're
know what's
doomed.
going to happen now. Lore everywhere.
Oh, Jesus. So, Wildstar, the look of it isn't your typical, like, gritty, dark style of gameplay. Why did we decide to go with the look for that Wildstar has?
Well, Tony,
Well,
Well, Tony, let me tell
let's
you.
all jump into our marketing voices.
yeah,
let's
let me
do
tell
it.
you about
Wildstar is not your typical
Wildstar.
MMO.
Well, we really wanted a place where people wanted to hang out, you know?
Right.
Like, sure, there's combat, there's the end of the universe going on, all that crap, right? But people spend a lot of time in MMOs, right?
Yeah.
And you want to have a place where people want to be. Housing, major feature, right? You want to make a house like in the gritty, gray, post-apocalyptic, you know, like desaturated world. Maybe some people, and we do offer that actually.
You could do that.
Yeah, you could totally do
Totally,
that. But we wanted to offer something else. We wanted it to be a pleasant place to be, right? Nexus is supposed to be kind of like this lost paradise,
Right.
You know, and we wanted people to come here for multiple reasons. Part of it's to settle, you know. So we wanted this beauty and wonder and, you know, majesty within the world. But the other thing is, and I know a lot of you MMO players out there, you really like the colors brown and gray. But when we looked at it, there's all these other colors that you could use. It's pretty amazing.
What?
Right.
Believe it or not.
That's nuts.
Brown
Yeah.
and gray,
In
not the
fact,
only
I'm
colors.
not quite sure gray is a color per se.
Oh, if we want to
More
get
of
technical.
a
If you wanna
lack
get
of color?
technical.
Is that
Yes.
what that is?
But anyway, no, we wanted to have this huge color palette offering people variety. So you're going to go to one zone and it's going to be greens, saturated greens. You're going to go to the next zone and it's going to be, you know, reds and oranges. Just, you know, have that variety. Give people, you know, so they don't
Yeah.
get bored with the same thing over
Well,
and over.
even
and
in
over
the
again.
same zone too. I mean, you can look at like we have these things called subzones, which are areas that look completely different. So it's not like, oh, it's the swamp zone for 20 hours. Yes.
Absolutely. We
Yeah.
we want to keep hitting the player up with new, interesting places that they want to explore, and they're not like, oh my God, I've been in this same color for the past 10 hours, right? You know, so we wanted to give the widest variety we possibly can, and you know,
Right.
for all you gray lovers out there, we do have a zone that's on the moon. It's called Farside, and it is when we go all gray.
Yeah, dude.
So
For all you
that's
gray
for
lovers,
guys out
we
there.
send you off the planet.
That's right.
Get off the planet. Go to the
Yeah.
moon, bro.
Yeah.
Now,
We
speaking
kick
on
you off the planet.
speaking about variety, Wildstar has a shit ton of customization.
That's probably an understatement, but
Right?
yeah.
Is
I
that an
think you're right.
understatement? Is that an understatement?
That's a metric unit that I thought was insurpassable.
There's
Yeah.
there's a little, there's a lot, there's a whole hell of a lot, and then there's a shit ton.
Right.
What's over? a
What's
shit
the
ton?
next over a shit ton?
I think it's an F ton.
Okay, well,
Ooh.
an F ton.
You know.
Damn. So let's talk about that. What kind of customization can people look for in Wildstar?
So we have tons of customization, right? Obviously, we have your bread and butter player customization. We got lots of cool stuff. You got cybernetic things you could put on your face if you're a Mordash, you know, Makari, more robot stuff. Orin, you could put different types of ears and everything on. So, you know, it's not just hairstyles and face styles.
Yeah.
With, you know, our races really offer a lot more. But beyond that, we don't, you know, customization for characters, it's something you do at the beginning of the game, and pretty much that's your character for the rest of the game.
Right.
So we wanted to give people options as they play through, right? So it's not just like one thing at the very front, like, because who knows what type of character you're going to want to have as you progress through the game. It might change over time. So not only do we offer player character, we have housing, of course. you've heard over and over again during this cast that housing, the best housing of any MMO ever. So housing is one of them. We also offer mount customization, and I believe
pretty
this
damn good.
is
It's pretty
the
freaking epic.
Yeah.
only
I think this is the
MMO
first MMO to do that.
Yeah, I think we
Yeah.
are the first MMO ever to do actual mount customization.
And you're going to see more of that stuff post-launch for free as part of your subscription. You
And
know-
it's different customization for both your regular mount and your hoverboard. Your hoverboard has a whole different set of customizations.
By the way, we have hoverboards in the game if you didn't know.
Yeah, hoverboards, they're rad. Make a skate park in housing.
We've
Do it.
seen that.
We have shared a video of a skate park that someone has made in the beta, and that's what the craziest thing is to me is, you know, people are so passionate about like being creative with their housing plots and like creating a full-fledged skate park. And that's all going to be gone soon. Like he just
I know.
made it because he's
This is the
passionate.
crazy thing. At the end of open beta, we're wiping all these characters. We're going to show you some stuff tomorrow too. We're doing another live stream, so make sure you tune in tomorrow at 11. We're going to be doing some crazy stuff, and we're going to show off some player housing in beta. We'll be playing along live with you guys, so you can check that out tomorrow because there's some really awesome stuff,
And-
like better than anything anybody in this building has done.
And
Right,
look,
no, definitely.
look,
Yeah.
there's been some amazing stuff. I bet you our open beta players can make more cool shit than has been made.
Oh yeah, are you kidding me? Yeah, I mean you
What's
give them time. Oh no.
Oh, no.
Hey, it's Donatelli.
Just go with it. Enough of this. Open beta. It starts now. Get in there. It's the best MMO you will ever play. And if you think I'm full of shit, log in, play it, and get into all the social media and tell me how full of shit I am.
Super uncomfortable.
This is a little
I
awkward.
said go with it. Do you feel the heat, Matt? Do you feel it?
Oh God. Well, on that note, we are definitely unleashed today, and we're going to have more developers unleashed tomorrow. We've got a full schedule. We have 6 hours of basically a live Q&A. So let me explain it. A lot of people do a Reddit AMA. A lot of people live tweet. A lot of people do Facebook chats and live streaming and chatting within the chat of Twitch. A lot of people do that kind of stuff. But nobody does it all at the same flippin' time.
Oh, no.
Same time, all day tomorrow. We are going to be across every social media channel that we have, talking to you guys, answering your questions, pulling them up, having developers here, gameplay footage, some very never before seen stuff at the end of the show. It's going to be awesome tomorrow. Make sure to tune in. Same channel, twitch.tv/Wildstar. We're going to be here, like I said, for 6 hours from 11 a.m. PDT all the way to 5 p.m. PDT. So it's gonna be one hell of a day, and we're gonna be more developers and more unleashing.
Oh man.
All right, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Enjoy open beta. Jump in right now. Go to our website, wildstar-online.com, and play now. Enjoy the very new trailer, the open beta trailer. See you guys tomorrow.